Thank you and welcome to the show for today. You are watching Perspectives with Alana McLaughlin. And this morning I am joined by Porclen Vaughn, Terica Richardson, and Matthew Santana, three mentors from the local community to discuss urban empowerment in Nashville. And so I wanted to thank you all for joining me this morning, and I thank y'all for coming to share your perspective. And so in this first segment, let's start with everyone's kind of backgrounds, early education. So Porclen, I'll start with you.
All right, so I grew up some of the time in Nolensville, Tennessee, and then I came to Nashville, Tennessee, and I also went to Dalewood Middle and then went over to Maplewood High School, which was a phenomenal time there.
So we know Maplewood. And Terica, are you from town?
I am not originally from Nashville.
Wow, where are you from?
I'm a Michigan native. I'm originally from Michigan. I went to Arthur Hill High School. That's where I graduated from. If you're familiar with like Jason Richardson, who's some Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Yes, those are the people that I kind of went to school with and where I'm from.
Right.
So we have just came out, and now we're in Nashville, and we are here supporting the community in Nashville.
Yeah.
For the people events.
Yeah. And Matthew?
I'm originally from Gary, Indiana. I just recently moved here, 2018, and it just made a great impact on the community, helping people change their lives one day at a time.
Yeah. And I love the stuff I'm hearing so far, just impacting the community. And I guess the big question that we'll open up with was, what are some of the experiences that you all had in that early childhood that kind of molded the men and women that y'all are today? So like PK?
Well, you know, my childhood was a little rough, but I don't blame anyone for it, because when you get older, you'll understand that a lot of people just go through conditions. And some of those conditions are behavior conditions that's passed down. So what inspired me was because my family was molded, but there's a lot of people dealing with trauma. And so when I deal with my trauma, I just wanted to go out and serve, but I couldn't do that until I understood how to love, right? And so once I got saved, I'm just gonna say it, filled with the Holy Ghost, and God led me, He led me into a ministry to go out to the people. I'm also a part of the community outreach ministry at my church, Last Age Church. And I just want people to change. I want people to know that they can make it, and you don't have to stay stuck where you are. The past will keep you stuck, but God is a healer. And so if He healed me, I'm pretty sure they can get healed as well.
Amen. And you're totally right. And Terica, did you have some similar experiences?
Some similar. I was based at a community center, and that's where I get my community service spirit from. It was called First Word Community Service, and I went there as a child. We went there after school. My mom was a working mom, and I was there serving. I worked in the store there. We did camps there, and we served our community there. And, well, I was a part of the community at that time when I was a child. And I loved it, and it just always been in my spirit to serve and give back to the community.
And Matthew?
So being born premature, 1 pound 3 ounces, I felt like I got my second chance in life. So I dedicated that to help people that come across my path, to help them grow, heal, and learn how to love correctly. Being a domestic violence and sexual assault advocate and counselor, I see it every day, and I have to help women empower themselves, become whole again. And going through domestic violence and sexual assault myself, I've learned how to heal, become whole, and be free. So that's what I want to teach other men, women, and children how to do, is heal and love themselves.
I love that. I love that kind of the lasting narrative that I've heard, like the lasting topic I've heard is supporting others and taking what you've experienced and being able to apply it to other people and putting that to good use, not just sitting in your bad space or sitting in your past. And I appreciate that. And so, Porclen, we'll run back to you, and I guess to just kind of close out this first segment, let's begin to talk about what are some of the specific experiences that happened to you as like a teenager, as like a young adolescent, that really kind of showed you that this is what you're meant to do. You're meant to be working for the community.
Well, first of all, I always felt last. I was like, why do I always feel so last? And then I went through, molestation as a young child. I went through a lot, dealing with, let's say depression, dealing with insecurities, didn't know if I was pretty enough or felt good enough for the people. So that's what made me who I am today. And so I just want others to know that. And you get in that type of space, and sometimes you still question yourself, but when God helps me and say, hey, you are who you are. I called you to be. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, that's something that I take on. So those are some experience that I went through, and a lot of people don't like to talk about molestation because it's horrible, and that's why we kind of choose the men that we choose, because we're looking for that father figure. We're looking for somebody who love us, and so we get into those type of situations, and we didn't cause it. It just happened, and so that's who I am, and that's who God created me to be, to go through, so I'm good.
And in our second segment, please join me, Terica, and Matthew to further discuss their backgrounds and urban empowerment in Nashville. Welcome back to the show for today. I am joined by Porclen Vaughn, Terica Richardson, and Matthew Santana to discuss urban empowerment in Nashville. In our first segment, we got into the backgrounds and educations of my three guests, and we spoke of the early experiences that they had in Indiana, in Michigan, and in Nashville. After discussing their early educations and backgrounds, we began to discuss the specific experiences that these three individuals had in terms of urban empowerment, in terms of community involvement, and what inspired them to be the men and women that they are today. And so I want to thank y'all again for just joining me and for coming out this morning. And to hop back in where we had left off, Terica, I'll come back in with you. What are some of those specific experiences that kind of molded the woman you are today?
I had a lot of black women that I looked up to, that I could look up to, that said, okay, they were in a position where I said, they're doing this, they are making an impact. And I looked up to that, and I wanted to be that same woman, and now today I am that same woman. I am that figure that people can look up to and say, oh, you can do this. It is an opportunity, and you create your own opportunities. And those were some of the positions that I was in at that community center, just looking at my community from Michigan, saying, okay, these people are out here, they're making an impact, they're making a move, and you can do the same thing, because we do not have a lot of that in this generation. A lot of children feel like they don't have anyone. They can't look up to anyone, and I want to be that figure that you can look up to me, you can do anything that you put your mind to. You are a powerful woman or man, whatever you choose to do, you can do it.
Yeah, and you're totally right. I feel as though, especially with my generation, we don't have those same community leaders. Community centers are closed, and COVID kind of did a number on society, and I feel like especially our black girls are suffering. We don't have those same outlets. And so Matthew, I'm curious to hear about you, because you're coming from a male point of view. And so I want to know some of the experiences that you had in that early adolescence.
So basically being raised by all women and seeing, that hurt and that pain that they went through and the generational curses, I felt like, it was my job, my duty to stop it and made sure it ended with me. So on a daily basis, I'm helping women heal, motivate themselves, and keep on going. So I started my nonprofit that helps men, women, and children heal themselves from domestic violence, sexual assault, all those traumas that we go through that we don't talk about. So if you come to me, it's ending here. It's ending now, and I'm gonna keep telling people life is only for a moment, so follow your purpose, follow your destiny, and keep on going.
And about when did you start your nonprofit?
I want to say I started 2016.
2016. And what are some of the services that y'all provide?
So we basically, different skills. So once you come to me, you're not going to go anywhere else. So we're helping you start that business, do the things that you want to do with your business, and focus on you, because it's all about you, and that's self-care. So we're doing empowerment, we're doing different coaches, we're writing books, doing movies, screenplays, whatever it takes, whatever you want to do, I'm going to help you do it.
Yeah.
It's going to end with you. You're not going to look at yourself again and say, oh, I don't recognize myself. You're going to say, oh, I'm that beautiful black woman, I'm that strong man, I can do this, and I'm going to make sure you get there.
Yeah. And I love that. And what's the name of your nonprofit?
Infinite Power Project.
Infinite Power Project. We'll keep that in mind. We'll make sure in our last segment to tell the community how they can get involved with you. And Terica, what is it that you currently are kind of into right now in terms of the community?
Well, I have a nonprofit organization called For the People Events. We are for the people. We're making a change today for tomorrow, for our future children tomorrow, our future generation tomorrow. And I host small business expos, also women empowerment events, just setting the community up to be heard, to putting them in the spotlight, to get showcased in the community.
Yeah. And so what are some of the services that that your organization provides for the community or for people that are just kind of in need of that help?
We put them in positions to get opportunities to showcase their business. We just had an event in Halley Park. So I put over 40 Black-owned businesses in Halley Park coming together, and they had opportunity to get a radio interview with a local radio station. And so that's showcasing your business, saying you can do this, you can put yourself out there, and it is opportunities for you. And I want to create those opportunities for the community.
Yeah. In Porclen, what is it? You can, I know that you have a number of different things going on. Ministry, hair, I know you're event planning. And so I guess what really inspired you to be beyond, your early experiences and beyond childhood? What made it click in Porclen's head that like, we need help, and I need to get on the ground?
I'm just gonna say because I'm so talented.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people where God says he created one for that talent, and then I got 5, 6, 7, 8. So when I saw all of those talents, I was like, I got to do something with this. I'm just so gifted. And at first I was like, am I going to be able to handle all this? But I handle it. But when I do put it towards the community, I host events. I've hosted an event where entrepreneurs came to White Limousine, and then they spotted their business. I gave them a 5-minute pitch just to see what they're doing. And then I do everyday graphics and balloons. That's my business. I come and serve your birthday party, your wedding, whatever you need. And then because also I'm in ministry, I can't really put too much into it, but God has allowed me to manage it all and be balanced. And so that's what I do. And what we do for the church, for the community, we go out, we make hygiene bags, we go to the homeless camps, we see what the homeless people need. And now we're working on a 501c3 so that we can become that nonprofit organization, and we can have the funds to expand more money to help those people who are in need with all of those resources. So, and also, I want to do my nonprofit organization, which is my salon. Right now, I'm working under Sonia Crawford, which is, I love her so much, but my salon is called Women of Virtue Salon Ministries. And I remember somebody saying, you can't do that. I'm like, why? When you sit in my chair, you get ministered to.
Yeah.
They bring their problems, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing. And hopefully I'll own my own salon, one day. But right now, I'm working all of that, and God has just been good. That's all I can say.
I agree. And I guess this was so interesting, what you just said, they get ministered to in your chair. I kind of, to wrap up this second segment, I want to get into that. What does that look like, ministering to someone? Because you don't think about ministry when you're in the hair shop. So like, what does that look like?
Set free. It looks like set free. Because when people come in, you don't know that they're in domestic violence. You don't know what they had to fight just to get to the salon, or what they're feeling. They want to get their hair done because they feel unworthy. And so you're ministering to them, and then sometimes God will just speak something, and that's what that person is going through, and we'll lock hands right there in the salon. So that's what it looked like, being healed right there.
And being set
And
free.
being set free.
And I love that. And that's a beautiful way to end this second segment. And in our final segment, please join me again to discuss beyond being set free, just empowering people through ministry and through community activism. And so join me in the final segment of Perspectives, discussing urban empowerment in Nashville. Thank you, and welcome to the final segment of the show for today. You are watching Perspectives with Alana McLaughlin, and I am joined by Ms. Porclen Vaughn, Ms. Terica Richardson, and Mr. Matthew Santana, 3 mentors in the local community discussing urban empowerment in Nashville. If you're just tuning in our first 2 segments, we discuss the backgrounds and educations of my guests, as well as the early experiences that inspired them to give back to the community and how the community helped them in a sense. And we left off in our second segment with Ms. Porclen Vaughn discussing her ministry through hair. And that was something that I found particularly interesting because you don't often associate ministry with going to the hair salon. And so she mentioned things like being set free and speaking life into clients. And I want to pick back up and finish that with your Porclen because I really was just really like taken aback when you said that, because again, you never think about, I think about ministry in church, ministry in service, but not when I'm getting my hair done. And so I want to pick back up when you were saying to set free and kind of explain what that means.
Someone that's in bondage, somebody that's captive, held down, bound. It could be from family curses. It could be through from something that they did in the past, because everything goes back to the past. You got to get the root of the problem, and somebody needs to be set free in that aspect. And so that's what that looks like. And people have left salon where I am at Sonya Studios feeling good, gospel music playing. And, I feel so much better. Sometimes I go and say, I don't want to leave the salon because God is in there, And so I'm glad that I'm even there. So I know how my salon's going to look, because that's what God's showing me. It can be done. Ministry can be done at the salon.
And I just really enjoy it because it makes me think now that really ministry can be done anywhere. And Matthew, we're going to hop over you. I know I'm going out of order, but I see these books in your hand and I want to get into those. So tell me a little bit about that.
So when I first started, it's all about healing and empowerment. And I had to get I run a women's support group. I hear it all the time. How can a man run a women's support group? So here is how. So Rebirth of a Woman, Discover Unspoken Secrets. After writing my first book, a lot of women came to me and read my book, and it was like, you helped me heal. So I get over 30 women in this book healing and talking about the secrets that they had covered and discovered after writing this book. And then I just recently released Rebirth of a Woman Part 2. 2 of my co-authors, on Unapologetically Living Your Truth. And after going through something myself, I had to learn, I had to stop apologizing. And a lot of women came to me like, okay, how did you heal? How did you move on? So I got a lot of other, I think it's 50 something women in this book to heal and talk about their stories and their journey of healing and moving on. And we did all of that through writing. So I coach women on how to get your story out there with writing and healing and forgive. It always starts with forgiveness and moving on. We have to let that trauma go. No matter what somebody has done to you, you have to move on. And a lot of women stop apologizing for things that had nothing to do with them or about them. It's time to move on. It's time to live your life because we only get one. So writing these books and connecting with women is what I do on a daily basis. So not only do I do that through books, I have my magazine, Santana Global magazine, through Santana Global, and it's all about women healing themselves and moving on and just figuring out who they are in this life. Once you figure out who you are, you can go farther than you ever believed, and it's all with healing and empowering yourself.
And I guess on the topic of healing, what do you think is about the first step in starting that process? If I came to you as a prospective, or a woman trying to get in your support group and I said, Matthew, I'm down and out, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going through a lot in my head and I want to heal, what is that the first step that I would take?
Write everything down that you're currently going through. And once you start to figure out what's really bothering you, we can figure out the root of the problem.
And Terica, I know your involvement with Matthew. How did you get involved?
I mentioned my women empowerment group. So Porclen and Matthew were both speakers at my women empowerment group. They came and spoke to the community, to the women. Stay woke. We have to stay woke out here. We have to know our trauma. We have to know what the environment does. We have to know that where we come from can impact you, but you can make a difference and you can change. So both of these beautiful people came and spoke to a group of women at my women empowerment group. And that's what I do. I like to empower people. I like to put people in positions to win. And I want to really reach out to adolescents, to that 14, 15, 16-year-old girl, the girl that may be lost, the girl that may not know or have direction, or have people like us to look up to and say, hey, it can be, no matter where I've come from, I can make an impact and I can make a difference, and life can be beautiful.
And I know you mentioned in our earlier segments having that experience in the community center growing up, but I'd say who was a woman or maybe a figure in your life that around that 14 to 17-year-old age inspired you as a woman to be able to give back to girls? I think about my mother. I think about, you know, women I saw in the church, Sisters in the Spirit. I'm a member of John Wesley United Methodist here in Nashville, and so that was my upbringing. But who are some of the women that you saw?
I did I have a church home in Michigan, Zion Missionary Baptist Church.
Yeah.
Reverend Smith. All those women there, they have made an impact in my life. They have molded me into the woman I am today.
And what are some of the characteristics of these women that you see that are empowering? Like I think of my mother. She gets up every morning without complaint, no matter how early.
You know about the Proverbs woman?
Yeah.
Okay, Proverbs 31. The Proverbs woman, what she does is she gets up before her family gets up. She gets up and she makes clothes. She has her house in order. She has her community. She does community work, and that's what I think of. I think of the Proverbs woman. I think of those women as being the Proverbs woman because I've seen them I've seen them out in the community. I've seen them beat cancer. I've seen them overcome detrimental stress, detrimental things that they have went through in their life, and they're still standing. And we have to stay woke. And I want to really reach out to them 14, 15-year-old girls that may need some help, that don't have any direction.
And you know, there's even been an uptick in missing young girls here in town, here in Nashville. I've been seeing, you know, News Channel 5 and Fox, all these different social media posts about these girls missing. And I feel like a lot of that is, you know, on top of the already dangerous world we live in, these girls don't have a safe space to go.
Safe haven.
They're running from something. They're running, either it's from home, from themselves, from school. They're running, and I feel like Nashville especially is really in need of those strong community figures, those women.
I'm glad you said that. For the people events, I am in nursing school. I'm going to become a nurse practitioner. So I want to open up my own office and offer free services to young women and have a safe haven for those women to come to, that they can come and get care. Some of these, education is so important in our community, and I want to push education because some people in our community just don't know.
They don't.
They just don't have the resources. So I want to be a source of resource for young women, just to say, come and get help, learn about STDs, learn about how to take care of yourself as a woman.
And hygiene, things like that.
And, you know, get on, be able to come in the community and not have to come into my office and not have to worry about payment.
Exactly.
You know, and paying, and then get educated on what you can do.
And those two things, payment and comfortability, accessibility, we don't have that. Things are expensive, and things, you know, people aren't comfortable coming to women, you know, being able to express those feelings. And so, Terica, I love that, and I am fully supportive of everything you do, because our girls need that. Our women need that. Everyone needs it. You know, everyone who sits in a chair needs that. Everyone that you all encounter needs those things. And I guess to just wrap up this final segment, I want to encourage our viewers to continue to reach out to y'all, Matthew, Santana, Terica, Richardson, and Porclen, Vaughn. And I want to encourage everyone to continue to work with y'all and support the community, because you all are doing amazing work. And I thank you all for joining me for this episode. And to my viewers, thank you for allowing me